Hey everybody, Kevin Harnett, Carson Meredith here with you on this alert day. And boy, I tell you, we have the alert day in place and it's unfolding as we expected. I mean, we said we would have snow first, then the freezing rain would move in, and that's going to be followed by more snow tomorrow. So the alert day will continue through Monday.
What did we say the big factor is going to be with this snow this morning? Heavy snow, heavy rain or snowfall. I keep saying rainfall, heavy snowfall rates. And we have seen some overachieving when it comes to some snow reports that we've gotten so far.
Yeah, we're going to go through that. We have the full forecast for you too. We're still not finished. I mean, we're just in the beginning stages of the winter storm. Sure, for many of us, the snow is starting to taper down. For some of you, it already has. For some of you, you'll stay all snow. So the winter storm probably about halfway through.
I'd say so. You know, we got this freezing rain that is moving into parts of the region, especially south of Louisville. Not everybody's going to see that, but it's going to be getting closer to that I-64 corridor, which has kind of been the hot spot throughout this entire forecast for the most amount of ice. We go through this afternoon, this evening.
Yeah, and that's something that we'll have to watch closely. I want to bring in Kirsten Foote. She is live for us up in southern Indiana. And Kirsten, man, the snow coming down there, how much you got?
Hey, Kevin, we are coming to you live from Seymour, Indiana. It's in Jackson County, Indiana, about an hour north of Louisville. And as you can tell, the snow is coming down. It's coming down a little bit of a slant from me. But like I said, about an hour north of Louisville. And we just got up here a few minutes ago up I-65 North, which you can see right behind me. And there are a few cars out there on the roads. They're doing what they should be doing and what we did to get up here, which is taking it very, very slow. I'll have my photographer just kind of show you what I-65 looks like right now. Visibility's down quite a bit. You can see some of the signs off the distance and you can make out what they are, but still definitely not the best conditions to be out there right now. But this snow is coming down. It is light. It is fluffy. I'll just kind of show you a little bit what we're kind of working with here just with some of the snow. It's very bouncy. Good to, maybe tomorrow, maybe build a snowman, something with that. But overall, on the way up here, we saw a couple crashes with some cars off the road. And we saw, some Indiana State Police troopers helping those people out there, which is just another reminder that if you can stay home today, that's the best thing that you want to do. We also saw some snow plows out there too. But overall, just very snowy conditions. Again, these cars mostly doing what they should be doing. Like I said, taking it very, very, very slow. we haven't seen too many people out there. And I talked to ISP earlier today, and they told me that they've responded to about 30 crashes in Clark and Floyd and Scott counties. And that number could change, of course, as we progress through the day. But they told me that it's a good thing that this storm is coming on a Sunday because a lot less people are out there on the roads. So again, you can't say it enough. If you can stay home, do stay home. This snow is kind of coming at me a little bit on a slant right now and starting to get a little bit wetter, it kind of feels like, but it's a good day to stay home. We're here live in Seymour, Indiana and Jackson County, and we'll be sure to bring you guys more updates about what the snow looks like here. But reporting live, Kirsten Foote, Wave News.
All right, Kirsten, thank you very much. We appreciate that. You can see the traffic moving slowly up in Seymour, Jackson County. Same story here in Louisville. And, the plows have had a tough time keeping up because that snow was coming down at such a rate, and that really posed some problems.
And it was a wet snow to start things off, too. So that means it's got more sticking power, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, no question. And in fact, when we were talking about the roads and the speed of the traffic, first of all, there's not a lot of traffic out there. Secondly, it took forever for me to get in.
How long did it take?
It was like an hour 15.
Good grief.
Yeah, I saw about, I'd say 6 to 8 cars. Some of them flipped completely upside down.
Yeah, Interstate 71 actually during sunrise this morning was totally shut down. There's the traffic situation. Several accidents, as you might expect, unfortunately.
Yeah, no question. Here's one southbound as we look in southern Indiana that likewise has at least the left lane blocked there. I want to roll through a couple of these other accidents that we have. There's one over in New Albany. This was westbound as you are working not far from exit 121 there. So very much in the heart of New Albany. And then back into far eastern Jefferson County, you can see that eastbound 2 lanes are blocked. The right-hand shoulder blocked due to the crash there on the Waterson.
Yeah, the Waterson between Shelbyville and Westport. That's where the biggest snarl is at the moment. Let's go through some of the snowfall reports we have seen. The winners so far are far western counties in Indiana, DuBois and Crawford. Ferdinand, Indiana. Hello, DuBois County. 8 inches of snow so far. Carefree, though, is the big winner. How about 8.5 inches of snow? Frankfurt, 5.5. Last check at Louisville International Airport. Ali International Airport, 7 inches of snow. And the Weather Service office there on Smyrna in the south end of Jefferson County, around 6.5 inches. This is one of the biggest storms we've had in a while, as we knew it would be.
Yeah, I tell you, you have to really go back some years to see a snow like this in depth and in sort of coverage area, because this is impacting all of our counties, though it's different. You saw southern Indiana seeing very different conditions, all snow, likely will stay that way in Jackson County. But we've had all snow for now, but that's going to be changing. So let's jump into some of our weather maps here. We'll point out what to expect over the next few hours. Now, many of you are sending in your photos. A lot of folks out enjoying the snow. This is a good time to do it. First of all, because it's snow and it's not all bricked up with ice.
Right.
And it's not all that cold yet. It turns much colder by the middle part of the week.
It's cold, obviously. That's why it's snowing, right? But it's not that extreme cold we're going to be talking about here in a couple of days. Kendra's pup, that's Sable. Say hello to Sable, everybody. Think she's liking the snow?
She looks like she is anyway, right? Sable's not the only one out in it, though. I'll tell you, we've got kids that have enjoyed building a snowman or maybe just out sledding. I had a lot of people in the neighborhood sledding.
Yeah.
You can see these folks, Vanessa, sending in this from this afternoon. We've had others out with the American flag waving proudly. It always looks good against that white backdrop.
That's what I like so much about that photo. Beautiful.
You always see a lot of the flag photos when we have pretty snowfall.
Yeah, absolutely. 7 inches of snow, by the way, Mindy reported with sending that photo out in Iroquois Park.
Well, here's a critical part of what's going to unfold over the next couple of hours. You see Litchfield at 32 degrees, Munfordville 32. We've got that freezing mark to the south, and that is going to be a zone where we sort of battle it out between the freezing rain, plain rain to the far south, and snow to the north, where you have temperatures in the low to even mid-20s.
And the big question still is, how far north does that plain rain go? A lot of the high-res data today, and mind you, we're in the middle of this winter storm, so you don't necessarily want to take that high-res model data to gospel, but it's suggesting we might see some plain rain maybe as far north as Bullitt County. So that could help things a little bit later on tonight. We'll see.
Yeah, that'll be the critical part to the south. Those folks may get a little bit of a break. I was looking at some of the traffic cameras down along the Western Kentucky Parkway, and they have transitioned to freezing rain.
Right.
That, of course, squashes some of the snow that they already had on the ground, still creates dangerous travel conditions, especially as you get into the 20s. Right now, they're around 30 to 32. That's doable, especially with treated pavement. But when you get into the upper 20s, mid 20s, that really goes sideways, literally.
Yeah, right. And something else that we have talked about, thunder.
Well,
Thunderstorms, maybe if you see the plain rain, maybe some thunder sleet, thunder freezing rain. It's not totally out of the question, but I think that greater thunder risk would be a little further south.
yeah, that's for sure. Though we have had some reports, and whether they're credible or not around here, is that precip was coming down pretty heavily. I mean, we had snow at 1 inch an hour, maybe a little more.
Well,
than that for a
there were
period of time.
some rates earlier this morning closer to 2 inches an hour.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah, incredible.
Mhm.
Well, you can see the winter storm warning continues for all of our viewing areas. So that includes everybody. We will certainly be watching this freezing rain line move a little further to the north as the day goes on and the evening wears on. But that's the critical part for us in Louisville is when will we see that transition, or will we?
And that is now in play. And the big thing with those heavy snowfall rates earlier is they kind of keep things a little colder than what the models might have suggested otherwise. So to an extent, that could work in our favor. We just had to wait and see how this is all going to play out. I'd say over the next 3 or 4 hours, we're going to know here in Louisville whether or not we get some sort of ice out of this.
Yeah, here's the deal on this. So, our forecast isn't blown yet on the transition because we thought it may not happen until mid to late afternoon. We're just coming close to this 3 o'clock time frame. And with that, we're starting to see places to our south. We mentioned Litchfield. We mentioned E-Town, Anderson County. They're starting to see that transition. The radar doesn't always pick it up in every scan, but if you look closely, you can kind of see where that mix is. And the mix includes freezing rain, snow, and sleet. And that's areas along and south of the parkways for the most part.
Yeah, so far at this point. And, you were mentioning privately among the weather team earlier how the warmer air was kind of being flattened, if you will, because of those heavier snow bands keeping things a little colder. Will that trend continue? That's the big question that we're going to have over the next couple of hours. But again, our forecast for now remains on track. We really didn't expect to see any of that freezing rain here in Louisville until around 3 or 4 o'clock. We're just now getting into that ballpark.
Yeah, let us take you on a little radar tour here. You can see the darker blue blotches. That's where we have the heavier snow falling, and you can see some of that right along the Ohio River, northern Breckinridge County, northern Meade County, southern parts of Perry County, southern Crawford County, and then farther to the north up around Scottsburg and Madison. Those areas are getting a pretty good thumping of snow. Right now in the metro, we actually have a little bit of a break going on. So that's some good news there. Now, as far as what to expect in the metro, while we're seeing a break for now, it doesn't last all evening. We're still going to have some light snow falling. To our south, we do have that mix going on. Now in parts of Hardin County, southern Nelson County, a good chunk of southern Washington County, and points farther to the south. So that's where we're starting to see the mix. Some of you may be with rain, snow, freezing rain, snow, and sleet. Others could be completely freezing rain. That's going to bounce back and forth until the atmosphere can sort of settle. And in some areas, it won't. You'll stay with a mix. And areas to the north, as we pointed out, generally along and north of 64 holds the best chance of staying all snow in this event.
It's going to be a mixed bag, like truly, we show you these forecast maps and it looks like it's clean, cut and dry. We go from one precip type to another, to another, to another. Mother Nature doesn't work that way, never has. So we're going to be bouncing back and forth quite a bit, especially in our southern counties for a while. Until we have that wait and see game a little closer to 64.
What we're looking at here are the IMPING reports. These are super helpful. So we know what type of precipitation is falling. We always say it doesn't matter how much money you spend on equipment. There's nothing better than the ground truth and a set of eyes. And IMPING are reports that viewers like you will go on and submit and through the National Weather Service. And if you do that, you can do it through the IMPING app. And you can put in what type of precipitation you're seeing. It or it has all types. So there's rain, freezing rain, sleet, snow, and graupel. And for the most part, you can see those pink dots indicating the freezing rain areas just south of us. The darker purple, sleet, the mix, if you will, and of course the blue, the snow. And that's what's been ongoing for Louisville since the beginning. Starting to see perhaps a few pellets of graupel in southern Jefferson County. You see a few of those reports of sleet.
Still haven't seen much reports of freezing rain. The furthest north freezing rain looks to be, I think it was Harrison and northern Bullitt County. So it's getting closer, but most of that has been concentrated in our southern counties so far.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
And we'll continue to watch these reports coming in from you. We appreciate those. This is just another measure of damage that can come with the active winter weather. And you can see the blue snowflakes indicating the road covered with snow. And there's a lot of that, especially 64, 71, 65. You get down toward E-Town on the Western Kentucky Parkway, you see the icy conditions there. So those are all factors that we look at when we have a massive winter storm moving through. Has a lot of components to it. It's not just the winter side.
It's the severe weather side, too. If you look towards the bottom of the map, we've got a tornado watch in place for parts of Mississippi, Arkansas, and Louisiana. I think I see a couple of tornado warnings in Louisiana. So this system is incredibly dynamic. I think that's the best word you can say to describe just all the facets of this system, the wintry side that we're dealing with. You see all the winter weather alerts in place. Still have blizzard warnings in Kansas. Then there towards the bottom of the map is where the severe weather side
Even tornado warnings.
Right. Yeah. Down there in Northeast Louisiana at the moment. So, yeah, this has been a system that we will remember for a while, don't you think?
Oh, we're not finished.
Yeah.
So we'll still be measuring snow.
Yep.
The radar showing that across the area. Our storm tracker showing that as well. Back out on the roads today, you can see the roads that have been plowed and treated. You can maybe make out a little bit of pavement. But for the most part, the roads are in very rough shape. It's going to take a little bit of time to really get this snow off of it.
And the problem is going to be one of the major problems when it comes to getting out of this mess, if you will, is it's going to stay cold. There's a chance we may not go above freezing, Kevin, for at least a week.
Well, that's the
longer
bad part out of the whole deal is we really have a problem with that because it just is going to be cold. And we've got another snowmaker coming in late week on Friday.
Yeah, we pulled the trigger on an alert day for that on Friday because the consistency among the data is there. This could be another good thumping of a winter weather event. I won't go as far as saying winter storm yet, but it's got the look, at least, that it could be something significant once again, although we may be focusing more about just snow by Friday.
Yeah,
we got to get through tonight.
The ice can be a rough part.
Yes.
Let me take you through the Futurecast here. This is at 5 o'clock. And then I promise we will get to a lot of your comments and questions. We see them here and we'll roll to the top and scroll through as many as we can. So, again, I'm going to kind of scrub through our Futurecast, the model data showing that freezing rain at this point, 3, 4 o'clock to our south. That's on target. That's what we're seeing. We still have snow in Louisville, snow across southern Indiana. As we move through time, notice the air temperature in the forecast model staying well below freezing. Now, the models are off on this in our southern counties right now because it's already 32 degrees in Litchfield and Munfordville. But by the time we hit sunset, those numbers will come back down. So I suspect the model will catch back up. You'll see as we scrub this through time that, again, we're at 27 degrees at the surface, precipitating down. That means a warm nose of air coming in just above the surface, falls as snow, comes into the warm layer, melts, hits a very shallow layer of cold air, doesn't have time to freeze into a ball of ice we know is sleet, so it splats. You know, that's a mess, right? It's that glaze of ice we call freezing rain when we have temperatures in the mid to upper 20s. And that's what we're going to be faced with as we go into the evening hours. This lasts a little while.
Yes.
So our freezing rain takes a long time to accrete or accumulate on objects. And you're going to notice we stay in the freezing rain for quite some time. Here we are at 10 p.m. So if we break into it at 5, 6, 7 p.m., still in it at 10, 11, after midnight, we're rolling through the overnight. We're still getting some of that light freezing rain. That holds on until Monday mid-morning when we can bring in some colder air, and that transitions us back to a period of light snow.
There's a possibility still that we get a little dry slot in here later on tonight, past 10 or 11 o'clock. We emphasize, though, it's not going to be a completely dry time. There won't be as much precipitation, and it may not be as heavy. At the same time, when freezing rain is not as heavy, that gives it a better opportunity to accrete or accumulate, whatever you like. So that is where the issues could come into play even more once we get past sunset tonight, as those precipitation rates start to drop off once again.
Let's go through our forecast. Again, not much has changed in this. We've been consistent with the snow part. Now we're faced with still seeing more ice. And while our prediction still holds close to that 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch, but most likely closer to that 1/2 inch mark, we notice lower icing totals on both sides of that main swath. So the main swath is just who's in that warmer nose of air the longest. Cold temperatures at the surface. That happens to be areas along and just south of Interstate 64. That's going to create a sort of a cake of icing, on top of the snow. It'll be that crust, if you will.
Yeah, that icing on the cake. Unfortunately, these layers that we continue to build upon. And again, a 1/2 inch of ice, again, we think it'll be in that lower end of that 1/2 to 3/4 range, but that's still enough to obviously cause even more problems on the roads. And that is enough for some scattered power outages. We do not believe at this stage of the game this will be like 2009. We still do not believe that, but a few power outages can't be entirely ruled out tonight.
When we look at our snow map, again, we've tightened up the contours a little bit, but outside of that, we're still going 6 to 8 inches of snow across much of Jefferson County. Lower totals where we have that rain and freezing rain and sleet mixing into the south. Higher totals where it's all snow to the north, and that includes areas of Salem, Scottsburg, up toward Madison, perhaps. Bedford, Mitchell, Seymour, over toward North Vernon.
Let's emphasize also that this is storm total. So this is also factoring in what we're going to see Monday morning into Monday afternoon. So yes, a lot of the snow for this entire event has already fallen or continues to fall this afternoon, but we've got another little dose of light snow tonight, could drop another maybe 1 to 2 inches of snow across the region.
All right, let's see here. I'm going to put up the radar, and then we'll take some of your questions here. And then we'll try to talk a little bit about the cold and the next snowmaker that's coming in on the backside of this. I don't know if anybody's excited about that or not. Maybe the kids are. They're like, finally, we have some days we can sled.
Brian probably is.
Well, Brian is, yeah. Well, we know that. I wonder if he's going to be able to make it in.
Yeah. It again, if you have to, if you can't stay home tonight, please do. If you have to be out, plan on plenty of time and be careful.
Did you notice I brought my pillow?
I did. I brought all my stuff too, so we're gonna have to find somewhere around here.
We're here.
Rest.
All right. There is the radar view. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put in. Let me just pop in that.
Yeah,
that's better to look at.
Yeah.
And then we'll go back and forth. All right. Let's take some questions here. I'm going to scroll to the top. Is everybody having fun yet? Can we all just take a deep breath and be like, I'm just going to hunker down, stay at home, right? All right, let's go back to the top here. I know we've got thousands of messages, so there's no way we're going to be able to get to them all. Sean was our first commenter, says lots of snow here in Taylorsville, getting a decent amount from Shonda over in Jeffersonville. Again, this is probably about 35 minutes ago when we started the stream or so. Let's see. I'm going to go through some of the totals and we'll just pop them on. As of now, Tom says in Fern Creek, they've got about 7 inches. Everything has stopped for the moment, which on the radar, we showed you that, yes, we have, at least for the moment, eased the precip here in Jefferson County.
It could pick back up again throughout the afternoon and evening. And again, we're still in that wait and see situation as far as, will it be more sleet? Could it be more snow? Or will that freezing rain make its way up to Jefferson County and the I-64 corridor? Still wait and see.
You know, it appears on the radar, and I know we're tapping in back to the west, so the imagery gets a little skewed the further out from the radar site you go. But I'm curious to see if we have more heavy snow potential as we see that band from near Evansville to Litchfield push in. Now, to the south, it's probably freezing rain, and the radar has a tough time delineating between the different precip types, but I still suspect as we begin that transition, we could still see some heavier precip fall. Whether that includes sleet or not is probably a good bet, but not a guarantee.
Well, and if we get any more heavy precipitation, whatever it might be, sleet or snow, it's going to just add to the totals, right? So this stuff is not going anywhere anytime soon. And it looks like that band to the west is kind of expanding in coverage a little bit.
It is.
So we'll have to watch that too.
As the temperature profiles with the, afternoon sort of changes with the height of the radar beams as well, we get some different imagery there. All right, back to some of your comments. Getting light freezing rain in Fairdown Valley Station. And if you look on the windshield of the storm tracker, it also appears, obviously, depending on the defrost is super hot, it may be melting the snowflakes, but looks like we have a little freezing rain mixing in there as well. And then here, Sean, this was a good idea. I actually did this too before I left earlier today. I shoveled the drive to get that snow off, and I knew it was going to snow a little more, which is fine. You want a little snow. You just don't want the 6-7 inches of snow, then ice, then more snow. Makes it too heavy.
Because that little bit of ice, I mean, it just weighs it down. We were talking last night. If you get a ½ inch of ice accretion, that adds 500 pounds to power lines. So similar effect when you're talking about shoveling the driveway.
We've got sleet reported in the knobs. So appreciate the reports there. Here's Jason watching from Cloverport, waiting for the freezing rain. At this point, Cloverport, yeah, you're getting close. You're probably still seeing that mix. It takes a while to transition, and some folks, as we've mentioned, may not transition totally. So the transition doesn't always mean that you go from snow to freezing rain, that's it. It's a process. It's a tug of war, if you will, between that warmer air and the colder air. And it's always in flux. And it's whatever's happening at the moment is what is winning out, is determining what type of precipitation you're going to see.
And really, if you're on that border of seeing the most amount of ice or snow, what have you, it's going to be a constant back and forth, really, until the storm can get out of here tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or tomorrow morning.
Holly says they've got 7+ inches in Valley Station. We've got Sharon saying they've got 8 inches of snow in Crestwood. Jessica, 5 inches in LaGrange. Taylor reporting 8 inches in Valley Station and PRP. Cameron saying 7 inches in the Highlands. And Sharon saying you all called it. Well, we've been, it's been decent. Our forecast has been decent so far. Yep. We'll see. I mean, if we don't break into freezing rain, which we fully suspect we will, but if we don't, we're going to have a little more snow than we expected.
A little less ice and a little more snow, kind of a balancing act. Again, we'll see. We're still early in the game on the ice potential.
Yeah, and here's Tammy's sort of signal, and you can see even on the radar. Yeah. Let me sweep that on. This is the first signal the radar has really given us here in Louisville that we may have a little bit of a mix going on, and you can see that sort of purple showing up there. That's an indicator by the radar, which isn't always right, that we are starting to see that mix. But you combine that with real-time reports like Tammy, and that's helpful to know that we are at least starting that process.
And it's not going to be clear-cut. It's not going to be snow, boom, sleet, or freezing rain. It's going to take some time, and it's going to be a little bit of a battle, especially kind of in this border zone, if you will.
I'm looking to see... again, a lot of folks reporting their snow totals, and we appreciate that. 5 inches in Clarksville. And then you can see 9 inches near Corydon there.
Wow.
Adam reporting that. 8 inches. The guess. I always like the guesses. They're like, yeah, I'm going to look from my window. A lot of folks get a snowboard. The best way to measure snow is to have just a flat board, a ruler or a yardstick kind of affixed to it. Put it somewhere out in the open where the trees don't affect it. So what snow falls lands on the board, and then you can just measure up to wherever the snow ends on that ruler.
Never want to put a ruler into the grass when you're measuring snow, because that just messes up your measurement entirely.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like the storm tracker there is getting off very close to the station downtown.
Yeah.
So we do have the roads are a mess downtown too. And a lot of it depends on what kind of vehicle you drive. Well, mine is not good in the snow.
I haven't been out today. Is it slushy, or is it just that solid stuff?
Well, now the roads I drove on, even the interstate, and they had plowed them at least once or twice.
Right.
It seemed like however long,
Mhm.
but there was still plenty of snow.
Gotcha.
And it wasn't slushy. So
Okay.
it's not like it's cold enough to melt it and slush up.
Right. Right.
It was very much like what you're seeing there downtown. Several inches of snow still on the ground. Tractor trailers on any kind of incline having a problem.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's got his hazards on. Not sure why.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem stuck. Maybe just running an errand. All right. This is the one thing we don't want to see, and that's power outages. Sabrina saying power is out in Eastview, Kentucky.
That's one of the first power outage reports we've had so far today. I just checked the map not an hour ago, and we were in good shape. So we definitely don't like hearing that we got some power issues down south.
Bryce Shoemate down in Hardin and LaRue County, totally freezing rain in E-Town now.
Okay.
So it's good to know. Go back to the radar for you as we zoom it out just on our home view here. And I'll pop that on so you can see it. And you'll note that they are starting to see more of that mix and freezing rain down there. Some people are asking when their communities will start to see it. And it really, depends on where you are. Obviously, if you're south of 64, you're probably already experiencing some of the transition.
And it's not going to be, I know we keep saying it, it's not going to be this single transition, one to the other, that's it. It's going to be back and forth for maybe an extended period of time. Although the fact that we're now hearing that it's all freezing rain in E-Town or in areas along the parkways, that leads me to believe that we're slowly making our way towards that full-on transition, especially south of Louisville. So again, so far so good when it comes to our forecast at this point. But again, the big question now is how far north will this more widespread freezing rain go that we're seeing down near the parkways? We're getting some sleet mixing in here into the metro. Let's see, Chris says he's out plowing in E-Town right now, looking like all freezing rain. So we're becoming more confident, obviously, thanks to your all's reports, that we are fully making that shift to freezing rain down in Hardin County, at least. Here in Louisville, starting to get some sleet in the mix, freezing rain as well. We noticed on the storm tracker off camera here that looks like there's some freezing rain. So again, this is going to continue to be a touch and go situation, if you will, through the rest of this afternoon and into this evening, Kev.
Yeah, for sure. And again, the downtown streets are no better than probably what it looks like in your neighborhood. We've got a lot of folks out trying to work and plow and salt and help get the roads back in order, but that's going to just take quite a bit of time.
And something we should acknowledge, Kevin, we were the first station to break this news earlier today. JCPS is closed tomorrow. It's a regular snow day. You don't get those a lot anymore with MTI.
That means you get to enjoy it.
Right? Yeah. The kids actually get to enjoy it tomorrow. So Jefferson County is closed, and we'll have constant, I'm sure, more school closings, business closings. You can see that on the Wave Weather app or on wave3.com. Okay.
So again, you can see that the sleet has arrived near Pee Wee Valley. They can hear it pinging on the windows. That's a sign. And I'm talking to our crew in the field. But again, we do start to have some of that sleet mixing in as far north as Louisville at this point.
Yeah, and it seems as though that transition line, we said here in Louisville, we'd start to see that shift around the 3 o'clock hour. Well, here we are coming up on 3:05, and sure enough, we're starting to see that change from all snow to, for the most part, sleet at this point. In the metro, but there is some freezing rain trying to get in that mix too. We'll zoom in on southern Indiana, or we're looking at radar here on southern Indiana. Kevin will pop it up here. For the most part, still just some lighter snow. We're not seeing as many heavier bands of snow for now, but we mentioned a few minutes ago there could be some heavier snow trying to make its way towards our western counties over the next hour or so.
And again, here in Louisville, starting to see that mix. So right on target between that 3-4 o'clock time frame where we do have the transition taking place.
So this will, again, be a gradual process as we go through the next couple of hours.
I'm just going to pop on some more of your comments here. We're just kind of laid back. Let's see. We'll go down to Bardstown, 5 1/4. a trace of freezing rain with some sleet mixed in.
And a trace of freezing rain isn't a major issue, but obviously once we get into that, you get to 1/10 of an inch, you start to have some trouble. It's once you get past that 1/4 inch range when a few power outages come into play, maybe a few tree limbs down as well.
I punched up in between us the SkyTrack camera. This one's downtown.
And I tell you what, sorry, Kev, I was just going to say that SkyTrack camera was a whiteout for a couple of hours this morning. That's how intense that snow was.
Heavy snow, when it's falling, reduces visibilities. That causes problems on its own. You get those whiteout conditions. Similarly, if you have strong winds. Now, our winds haven't picked up, but will pick up 20 to 30 miles an hour by tomorrow. And you factor on what icing we may get, which in some cases is going to be just a little, but in some cases could be a bit more, closer to that. If we're looking at the ice actually that falls, in our forecast, we've been saying 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. But what actually may accrete on branches or the lines, because you have to understand that's when we measure the accretion, it's what falls. But when you're looking at what's on the actual tree limbs or on, say, power lines, because they're round, a lot of it drips off. It's not always 1-to-1. So you lose a little bit.
Right.
So with that, when we're talking about that, 1/2 inch of ice forecast, some of you are going to wind up with 1/3 to, say, 4/10 on the actual objects. That's a lot of weight, can cause some scattered power outages, and you factor in the wind, that becomes problematic.
Yeah, that's going to be the main concern once we get into Monday morning, truly. Of course, we'll have that another round of snow tomorrow morning that we'd also have to factor into potential power issues. So this is still going to be a mess. For quite some time. But as far as precipitation, we've got at least another 24 hours of something in the air. Right?
So Katie's asking, are we looking at widespread power outages? I don't think we're really looking at widespread outages, but I do think there will be scattered power outages with this. And boy, if it hits your home, doesn't matter if it's hitting anybody else or not, right? Because it just takes time to get it back on in conditions like this. Now, obviously, if it were 2009, which it's not going to be, that took weeks to get everybody back on the grid, and that would be a problem, but we're not looking at that.
No, this is nothing like 2009. There will be some power outages. It's not going to be everywhere tonight or into tomorrow.
We wound up talking about snow and picking up that first inch of snow, which we've had a couple of minor snowfall totals so far, but we've never hit that 1-inch mark until today, which is January the 5th. By the way, now in Brian's forecast that he always puts out, and all the folks that are familiar with the blog on here know that Brian loves winter weather. We really take a deep dive into the winter forecast. We all throw out a guess of when we think that first inch of snow will be. I happen to choose, I think, like
you were near
the
Christmas.
24th.
Yeah, you're
it was like Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And I think Ryan and Brian were pretty close to me, and Tawana wasn't too far away. But you chose the 4th.
I chose the 4th. I chose yesterday. There was no rhyme or reason to it. I just said, I think it's going to be early January.
So technically, you were the closest, but it was still, if we were playing the prices right,
I was over. Yeah, I was over. So I would have lost the showcase, I guess.
All right, back to some of your comments. Let's see. Here's Bradley Howard. Kevin, will the rain and warmer temperatures melt the snow once it arrives later? It depends how far south you are. If you get the plain rain, sure, it's really just going to smash it down more than melt it. But if you can stay at that 32-degree mark, let me go back to the temperatures here.
And while you do that, something to keep in mind, even if we do have some melting, temperatures are going to drop again tomorrow, late tonight, early tomorrow morning. So a lot of that residual moisture could freeze as black ice if we do see any significant amounts of melting further to the south. See, temperature-wise, we are at 32 still in Litchfield, Mumfordville, Lebanon, Campbellsville, and Columbia. We'll see how long we can hover near that mark.
Yeah, and you'll melt some snow at 32 degrees, no doubt. But you don't have much more time because the sun's about to set.
Yeah.
So that's what we're looking at on the map. Sorry, back to some of your comments. Thank you, Bradley. What kind of snow ratio would we be looking at tomorrow morning? That's a good question, Mitchell, because it will be very different than what we saw today. Today, we have a strong push of southerly winds. That's why we have so much moisture involved in this system. It's why we have the warm air involved, which in this part of the country is always frustrating between ice, sleet, and snow. By tomorrow, We bring in northerly winds. It's that drier, colder air. So it's a much lighter, fluffier snow. Not the best snowman making snow like today probably was.
Right.
But it will accumulate much more easily tomorrow. So while it's going to be very light, it will be fluffy. And we'll probably pick up maybe another inch, 2 inches of snow tomorrow.
So it's not going to be nearly as much as what we had today. But like Kevin said, that lighter stuff, it doesn't take much for it to accumulate rather quickly. And that'll be the kind of snow that also settles on everything, making the nice picturesque views.
Right next to all the accidents.
Right next to all the accidents, right. Trying to be positive.
No, right. I was just having a flashback to driving in. Like, if you don't have to get out, don't get out.
Yes, please.
9 inches in Ekron, freezing rain right now. Steady snow in Oldham County. Power just went out according to Dawn in Cecilia.
Okay.
Let's see.
That seems to be a little area that's having some power issues.
I'm going to go back to the radar view here, and I'll just punch that up. Let me put that in between us here.
There's so many buttons and computer screens in front of us, guys.
Oh, we can punch up anything.
We can punch up whatever we want to show you guys.
All right, I got that. I wanted to do that because you'll notice, this is Crown Crystal says lightning counts appearing on the radar.
Yeah.
So there you go.
There we go.
Thunder, sleet, thunder, snow. Again, that's over the last.
It looks like it's in that far western band there,
out toward Evansville.
Yeah. Well, it looks like
you can see it.
Yeah,
south of Evansville.
Yeah. So there you go. Some thunder, sleet, thunder, freezing rain. Never thought I'd say that.
I'll pause the radar here so you can see it better. Very observant. And you can see that lightning showing up, those very tiny, almost all of it is right along western Kentucky. So just south of Evansville is where you're seeing that lightning. You're not the only ones that have noticed it. Todd says thunder or snow around Evansville, according to the radar. And that's exactly right. May not be snow. I would suspect, here's the deal with lightning. Lightning is the separation of charge, positive and negative. How does it happen? We get updrafts in the storms. We have upward motion. We have different temperatures, but it's the collision of ice inside the storm. Thunderstorms, it's much larger pieces of ice. We call that hail. But when we can sort of create that static electricity, that friction, if you will, in the cloud, we separate the charge, positive and negative. And again, this is likely some sleet that's causing this, but regardless, it can change at any moment from sleet to snow to freezing rain. We have the convection. It's very heavy. Sometimes that heavier precip pulls down the colder air, and that creates very heavy snow or sleet or freezing rain.
Mother Nature likes to play a chess match with herself sometimes, as far as what's going to happen, what's going to come out of that system or that area. Is it going to be sleet? Is it going to be freezing rain? Pull enough cold air down, maybe it goes back to a few snowflakes for a little bit, right?
It can.
Yep.
Jennifer is saying, "Where is Brian Good? He's responsible for the."
Yes, he is.
He's gone in hiding. I'm afraid he is probably far, far away. No, he is. He'll be here tonight. Well, God willing, he'll be here tonight.
Yes.
And then we'll do another one of these this evening. Probably somewhere around 8 or 9 o'clock, depending on what time he gets in. We have football on tonight, so we'll be providing updates throughout the evening in those breaks within the game, and then a long form sort of discussion and talk about what's unfolding for the overnight hours and how much ice we will be able to pinpoint by that time in the game. All right, just zooming that radar back out so everybody can see their counties. We're going to wind it down here in a minute, but let me jump back. A lot of you are showing your totals. Again, your 8 inches Hillview, 8 inches Bardstown, 6 to 7 in Eminence. Appreciate that. Everything has stopped. Power is out in Eastview.
Second Eastview report we've had.
And Cecilia, right?
And Cecilia, yes.
We've got a couple of power outages. Where was this weather around Christmas, Tammy's asking, right?
Yeah.
We can't. Our wish doesn't always come true. All right. Let's see. I'm going to pop up the radar one more time here and see if we can get just a couple more questions in before we say goodbye. And then we'll see if we can check in with Kirsten one more time up in Seymour. Let me find where she's at here. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, we'll just sit on this radar view. Again, it's a mixed bag of everything.
Sorry about that.
Kevin's trying to make sure we can see Kirsten. She's up in Seymour for us, Jackson County, Indiana. That's where they've had a lot of snow and could have all snow throughout this entire winter storm.
Kirsten, can you hear me?
Hey, Kevin, I can hear you.
Okay, awesome.
Nice.
Perfect. Sometimes it's not easy in the snow. Appreciate you standing out in the cold. I see one snow plow behind you. How much snow is on the ground in Seymour? It's been all snow there, right?
Yeah. It pretty much has an all snow, and there is quite a bit, Kevin. I'll just kind of have my photographer show you a little bit, kind of where I'm standing here. My feet are pretty covered in the snow here, I'd say. We're kind of walking around in the parking lot that hasn't been plowed of a gas station here, kind of just trudging along here. It's very light, though. Take a look at this. It's just very bouncy, very light.
Can you make a snowball or no?
Got some snow in my eye, too. I think you can make a snowball. Let's see here.
Hard with one
I'm from
hand, I know.
Nebraska, so
It's a little too dry.
To get a snowball. So
Okay.
it's a little bit dry. It's a little bit dry, but I mean, it could be worse. I like this kind of fluffy. It was easy for us to get around here. So, I mean, easy as in like, if you have to be out, it wasn't too bad, not too compacting and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I see a snowplow behind you there.
Seymour.
Big snowplow going onto the interstate behind you. Have you seen very many people out, and have you talked to anybody? What are they saying?
We haven't got a chance to talk to people yet, but we are about to kind of hit the area over here. There's quite a few people out, I will say. We're on East Tipton Street here, and then you can take a look at the interstate down the road here. There's quite a few cars and trucks out, and they're taking it pretty slow, but Taco Bell seems to be open too, so I'm hoping I can go over there and find out what they're doing on the snow day at Taco Bell. McDonald's is open as well, so but we also have over here on the other side of the street, I'll have you kind of show them. We have this truck over here carrying some cars, and they've been stuck for a few minutes, and they're kind of just getting going. But it's pretty messy over there on the other side of the street here. So the conditions are definitely deteriorating a little bit just with all the snow.
Well, I'm curious about that. So is that truck with the car hauler, is it stuck? Zoom into that.
It looks stuck, and Grant, I'll have you zoom into that if you can for me, because it's stuck, and we've got a couple people trying to help get them unstuck there, and we have other trucks going around them too, and then behind them you got a truck that's kind of stopped waiting, cars going around them. So it's definitely creating a little bit of a mess here at the intersection of Tipton and Commerce Street here in Seymour in Jackson County.
Well, see, the thing is, these truck drivers, they really have to be on the road. They've got a job to do. They've got product to get somewhere. So, this is tough when you have road conditions that do not allow for easy travel. But boy, it really is a bad day when you're getting hung up pulling into the fuel station to diesel up.
Absolutely, yeah. So I mean, really, that's a lot of what we've seen here. It's very, dry snow, but I'm kind of starting to see a little bit of wetness here. It's kind of falling on my face here too. So, definitely not a good situation here. I'm seeing this one guy trying to get some of those wheels unstuck there, but it's definitely this is kind of the most action we've seen from this. People have been taking it slow enough that I think they've been able to avoid having too many issues, but this one's definitely kind of a developing situation. We've been over in this area for about 10 minutes maybe or so, and seeing this kind of progress from here.
Well, that's appreciate that. And I don't know if you're close enough to walk to anybody. I saw that snowplow over toward Taco Bell there. I see they're bringing in some bags of salt or a kitty litter or sand or something there, trying to get some traction under those back tires. And I see that they've got their little Bobcat out clearing the parking lot over there. But I would really be curious to hear the perspective of people who have been driving from, wherever they're coming from through the area and what it's been like. Because I have a feeling that through the heart of Indiana, from Indianapolis down to Seymour, is probably the heaviest snow out of this whole system.
Oh, absolutely. And there are some people over here, so let's kind of maybe see if anyone's willing to talk to us here. Sir, I'm so sorry to bother you. Sure. I'm Kirsten. I'm with Wave 3. Are you driving in this weather today?
No, I just got parked.
Oh, okay. Well, what's it been like? Have you been out and about?
It's been a mess. I came down from Indy, and it's been a complete mess.
Where's your final destination?
Florida.
God, wow. Are you stopping anywhere or anything like that?
Well, I mean, yeah, here.
Gotcha.
So, I'll just pick it up tomorrow if it clears up any.
What have you noticed on the roads? I mean, we have this mess over here. We were just talking about this, this truck over here. Have you just seen more of that on the roads?
Yeah, the plows look like they're having a hard time keeping up because it's coming down pretty good.
Yeah, it's been steady pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Well, best of luck with getting to your final destination. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Florida sounds good right now, doesn't it?
Kevin, yeah, it's very interesting to hear from people. And like you said, I mean, they pretty much had a mess. He came from opposite of where we were. Obviously, we came from Louisville, so we took it very slow. And I can't imagine what it's like up north because they just had more snow up there.
Yeah, and that's, again, been the biggest issue from Indy down toward about where you are. It's all snow. You get southern Indiana down into northern Kentucky. It's that mix, and we're starting to see more freezing rain. Kirsten, really appreciate the time. I know it's not the easiest to stand out in the snow and sit here and talk, and we appreciate that, showing everybody at home, wherever they may be across the world, what it's like in beautiful Seymour, Indiana.
Of course, it's fun. It's from Nebraska. I'm from Nebraska, so it's just feeling like I'm back at home. I feel like I know what I'm doing, but we're going to hang out, talk to some people here, and figure out a little bit more about what they're doing so we can bring you their perspective throughout the day and throughout the night here on Wave.
Well, in Nebraska, they always end their live shots by doing a snow angel.
Yeah. Maybe I'll do a snow angel soon here. I might do it. It's getting, this is good. It might not be good. What am I trying to say? Snowball making weather, but
right.
Maybe I could do a nice little snow angel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. All right, Kirsten, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, fun time.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, appreciate that.
Yeah.
I've been stuck out there in the bitter cold and the snow, and as it gets old after a while, is what I'm trying to say. All right, let's go back to your comments here. We've got a lot of folks online. We're going to jump off here in just a minute, so wanted to get back. Megan is saying, what effect will the freezing rain have on the snow that's already fallen?
It's going to compact it quite a bit more. Obviously, you're going to get a sheet of ice potentially on top of that snow, but it's really going to kind of pack things down a little bit, and that would make it a more tricky, in my view, to treat some of these major thoroughfares. So that's why we keep saying we're going to have these road issues for a while potentially.
Yeah, no question about that, because while a lot of treatment has happened, the colder air tonight takes us back into the 20s and teens.
And it gets worse from there.
From there.
Some of us will go below zero. And I am more and more confident looking at how much snow we've seen today. Snowpack will pull your temperatures down even more than what models suggest. So I think especially in southern Indiana, where we're seeing these very high snowfall amounts, we could definitely see some below zero temperatures.
Now, see Kirsten talking to another person. Let's just listen in.
Here.
I'm visiting friends and family that I didn't get to see for the holidays.
Gotcha. So what's the conditions been like today for you?
Terrible. I'm already 3 hours behind my estimated arrival time.
Oh my gosh.
There's a lot of spin outs, a lot of jackknife semis out on the road, icy conditions, snow where you can't see a ramp or a lane of traffic. So it's been a challenge.
Yeah. Where's your final destination?
The Chicago area,
Oh, okay.
northwest suburbs.
Do you think you'll be able to make it tonight?
I'm going to make it.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to make it tonight.
Was there any?
The confidence.
Yes.
You're going to make it one way or the other, right?
Yes.
The holiday season, that's another bad part about this storm, is we are right in the heart of when so many people would be traveling, right?
Yeah, we're,
Get back home.
I'd say Monday was kind of the back to real life kind of day for a lot of folks. The holidays are winding down. A lot of folks are going to head back to work. In theory, a lot of schools were supposed to go back tomorrow. Obviously, that's not going to be the case now. But yeah, a lot of folks definitely still traveling.
All right, we've got to wrap it up so we can update the forecast for you. We'll have that at 6 o'clock on Wave News. More on our digital platforms throughout the afternoon and really through the evening hours. So as this storm continues to make its way through with snow, ice, freezing rain, and plain rain for some well to our south, we've got a lot to cover. We're just about halfway through this storm.
We'll continue to give you updates on all of our platforms as we have been doing for the last several days. I know Kevin and Brian will hopefully do another long form update this evening. We'll have updates on television during Sunday Night Football as well. And of course, coming up on our newscast here at 6. Quick look at the 10-day before we go.
Yeah, I wanted to pop this up just to show you that cold air that moves in. We get another blast of snow on Friday. That could limit how much those temperatures actually get into the mid 30s by late in the weekend, early the following week. So still some question marks toward the middle part of the forecast. We'll get through this alert day today and tomorrow with more snow, more freezing rain for this evening, and then sort of suffer through the middle part of the week with those very cold temperatures.
And Friday is, we'll of course keep an eye on that as well. Looks like maybe a good thumping of snow once more.
Certainly possible.
Yep.
We'll say goodbye for now, and we will see you back on this evening.